Rocky Mountain mule deer, the Columbia blacktail, tropical deer, the SITKA blacktail, desert muleys, and the whitetail deer. These are the deer of North America, and this is the Super Grand Slam of Deer. If you like hunting, fishing, and the great outdoors, then come along today with Dave Embry in search of the world's greatest outdoor adventures. You'll go all over the world, from Alaska to South America, Canada to Mexico, in search of the most elusive and dangerous game in the world. This is Dave Embry's Adventures in the Wild. All 6 subspecies of deer in North America. Quite a challenge, but one any avid deer hunter in America would love to undertake. To the eastern whitetail hunter, the mule deer of the western states would surely add new skills to his hunting ability and a whole new world of excitement to his instincts as he learns the western way of hunting deer by spotting and stalking. Going even farther west, to the Pacific Northwest, the black-tailed deer seems to baffle us by looking much like a small mule deer, but with behavior patterns more like that of a whitetail. But then on the other hand, we're going to go after another deer which looks like a very small whitetail, yet behaves much like a mule deer. The western tropical deer, such as the COUES deer, or in this case, the CARMEN mountain whitetail deer, are found in the Chinati Mountains of West Texas. They live in areas where you would think there are only mule deer, but there, right around the muleys, you'll find them chasing does in December. And finally, even the best of western deer hunters would enjoy the great challenge offered by the most shy, elusive, and intelligent deer in the land, the whitetail deer. In this video, we want to take you on what the Swahili called safari, or journey, in search of each of these magnificent deer. The purpose of this safari was not primarily for the kill, but instead for the journey. Not to glorify the death of an animal, but to answer the call of ancient instincts within ourselves. Not to place any person, animal, place, or thing on a pedestal, but to put Mother Nature in her proper place, right alongside all of the above. A hunter is always a hunter. His journey never ends, and the safari lasts for a lifetime. He learns much along the way. In the beginning, the kill may be the most important thing to the immature hunter. He still hates having to crawl out of a warm sleeping bag into the early pre-dawn chill. He tries to figure out how to make coffee on an open fire and still keep the grounds out of the cup. And sitting still for hours in the tree stand, the climb to the top of the mountain, the inability to find game, and all the missed shots or botched stalks still makes the beginning hunter embarrassed. He may feel as though he failed and be overcome with anger. And there's nothing wrong with this. This is once again our ancient instincts coming into play. For in the years past, the hunter who failed to kill, failed to survive. But somewhere along the way, the hunter matured. It wasn't a clearly defined time or place, but somewhere along his journey, he suddenly looked back and realized that it wasn't the deer or bear or whatever he killed that holds the treasured spot in his memory. No, instead it was the terrible jokes you all laughed at while sitting around the warm crackling fire, drinking the coffee with the grounds in it. It was the taste of that slice of tenderloin or fresh fish cooked over an open fire, or the absolute peacefulness of an afternoon nap by the running water of a nearby creek. It was even the complete exhaustion, yet exhilaration felt as one tops the peak of a mountain and looks down on the civilized world, small and insignificant. All these things belong to the matured hunter. He's traveled the trails and walked with Mother Nature. And, as has been said many times before, he no longer hunts to kill, but kills to have hunted. And he owes no one an explanation, for he answers only to his God and Mother Nature. One the creator, and the other the guardian of those great creations. We'll start out today's safari with a trip out west to the great state of Wyoming, looking for the Rocky Mountain mule deer. Just outside of Rock Springs, in a portion of the state known as the Red Desert, Dave will team up with Norm Heater, one of the top guides for Platt's Guides and Outfitters based in Encampment, Wyoming. The Platts are one of the oldest and most well-known names in this part of the country, having originally come into this area by covered wagon many years ago. Not only do they guide for mule deer, but also for antelope, which are plentiful in many parts of the state, mountain lion, elk, and bighorn sheep. From their beautiful lodge and encampment, a short drive and scenic horseback ride later will also put you in some of the best trout fishing in the world. The game is so plentiful that just before dark, you watch the elk as they come out to feed. Then wake up in the morning, look out your tent and see one of the most beautiful sights you've ever seen. A doe mule deer browsing contently just outside your tent flap and acting as if you weren't even there. Then you go ahead and ease out of your bag and head to the early morning campfire for a great breakfast of fresh, bite-sized brook trout that are simmering on the open fire. It just doesn't get much better than this. But we better get on over to see what Dave and Norm are up to as they get ready to saddle the horses and head out after some mule deer.
Good breakfast, Norm.
Yeah.
Getting nice.
Time to go again.
And yeah, let's got them all saddled up. We get a little late start this morning, but the sun's up. It's awful cold some of these mornings.
It's so packed over there.
Yeah. Head out and go find them. There you go. There you go. Yeah.
Oh.
We're gonna go find us a big deer.
Well, it's about time, I believe.
Find us a big deer, right, girl? Let's go find a big one. Good old eagle nest up there, huh?
Yeah, right under that bush over there. Yeah, you need these high bluffs around here, seem to have them.
Yeah. Lots of good stuff, those eagles to eat around here. Let's go.
Let's go.
Let's go get them, big boy. Well, Norm, it's just some kind of beautiful country, I tell you. Badlands.
I kind of like it. It's definitely my favorite spot of Wyoming. I prefer the desert over the mountains.
Yeah.
Like I said, I come in here at 59. First time hunting antelope, not deer, but.
Been here a while then, huh?
Yeah.
Seen a few big old high-racked
Oh yeah.
muleys running around. Well, this is different. This is really desert. I mean, you don't see a sagebrush much more than about a foot tall.
No, it's
hardly.
Got to go quite a few miles to get into trees.
Yeah, no trees. If this was ever desert country, I would say it's desert country. Looks like nobody's been here since the beginning of time, doesn't it?
No, it sure don't.
I sort of like that.
Well, I like it. There's not a lot of deer in here, but there's some dandies, and not too many people hunt it.
Yeah.
No.
Especially for desert muleys. Yeah.
Been hunting in here now. This is the 9th day, and I've seen 1, 2, 3, 5 other hunters.
Mm-hmm.
Ain't bad, is it?
Yeah, no. We figured out a way to get rid of them. We'd really be all right with it. Yeah, these deer, this is the red desert country, I guess, isn't it?
Right on the west side of it.
We're not too far out of Rock Springs. That's where we flew into. We flew into Denver and we took a little commuter, one of Continental's commuters over to Rock Springs, and a couple hours drive out of there.
Yeah.
A couple hours drive, but go from big plane to small plane to car to 4-wheel drive to horse to foot.
Right down to where it all started.
That's right. You get right back to it. That's so much better hunting in this kind of territory than in some public lands area back east, you know.
Yeah.
And it's fun that we can sit here, majority of our time will be spent sitting here glassing, looking underneath all these little rocks and stuff. these deer get up underneath the rocks. They got a lot of problems, predators in the area here now.
Yeah, there's a few lions in here, and of course the coyotes aren't too tough on nothing but the fawn crop, and then when the snow's up, but the eagles are bad.
Yeah, eagles. We're getting them.
You gotta look behind every rock for him. He lays in the shade.
They're typically, what do they do? They're coming out, and like most any deer, they do a lot of feeding at night too.
Oh yeah.
And they're feeding evenings and mornings, and we're gonna watch the mornings early, right? Be out here before daybreak. And after daybreak, was the good thing about this is that even after they bed up, you don't have to quit hunting. You can sit out here and park your fanny on a big rock like we're doing right here and just start studying every little rock over there.
And you have to.
And sometimes, you know, we've seen some in the sagebrush.
Yeah.
They'll bed in the little beds of sagebrush. You just look and you'll see their heads and their antlers sticking up.
Like those
Up
ones
above
we
it.
jumped off the horses the other day. There's four bucks there, and they just popped up in front of us.
I think it's important too in this type of country. We'll talk a little bit about some of the rifle and ammunition. Of course, mule deer, any good deer rifle will work for mule deer. Out here in this country, even more so because we hundreds and hundreds of yards between areas. You may take shots at in excess of 200 yards, and
Pretty steady, you'll do that. Yeah.
you need to have a good flat shooting. I'm shooting a 7mm Magnum, but you know, just a good rifle to reach out there and touch someone.
Yeah. Well, like you
you
say,
need
in this country, you got to shoot feather.
Yeah.
It ain't like down in the brush patch somewhere or up in the green timber.
That's right. Of course, we'll always try to get as close as we possibly can, get the quickest, cleanest kill. But if we're practicing, and the biggest thing is to get to the range and practice too. I'll spend
Oh boy.
time at the 500-yard range that I use, and I make sure no matter what the ballistics tables say, I make sure my rifle's doing what the ballistics tables say they're supposed to do.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. You know, you need to practice a little before you come out here.
Yeah.
If I I have the hunters shoot it, you know, 100 yards, see
Right.
where they're hitting before we go out. But sometimes you don't have a chance to.
Yeah.
You
It's
come
a lot
out,
different,
in the
too,
dark
shooting
and you go in the morning.
Shooting at a target sometimes too, and shooting at an animal.
Yeah, people are inclined to get a little nervous.
Get a
sometimes.
little the bigger the rack, the bigger the shake factor comes in. That's what it's all about, though, I guess.
Yeah. Well, that's why we hunt, I guess.
Yeah. That's the biggest thing about shooting long distances, I think, or shooting even short distances without any game animal is taking the time and realize if that animal's not spooked, he's sitting there, sit down, catch your breath, you know, get your nerves together, and think about it. You've only got one shot. I mean, just about all the times in any game animal, you're gonna have one shot and make it good. I mean, squeeze the trigger off, know when it's gonna hit, make sure you're at the right place at the right time whenever that trigger goes off. Well, we bring these horses up here and we about checked every rock in this area. You wanna go over and see if we can check another rock somewhere else?
Yeah.
It's about 60 million rocks right over that thing we can go check.
Maybe they'll wait till another year.
Climb off
Get
this rock
part
or
of
fall off of it and see what we can do.
Okay.
And there's no doubt that there's plenty of rocks for a good muley to hide under. The deer in this country are classified as the Rocky Mountain mule deer, even though Dave and Norm often refer to them as desert muleys. They just happen to be Rocky Mountain mule deer which live in the desert. These deer live in this country year-round and don't migrate out as mule deer in many parts of the country do in the winter. They still like to move into their feeding areas during early mornings and late evenings, usually being sure to visit a nearby water hole on the way. During midday, they prefer to find a big rock and lie up under it in the shade, looking down for danger. Estimating range in this country is especially difficult since there isn't much to reference to, such as trees. Most often, the hunter not used to hunting in this open country tends to overshoot game, thinking that it's further away than it actually is.
Okay, and we got to find him now, Norm.
Yeah.
Sun's coming up.
Used to seeing them over there under that bluff over there.
These are resident deer too, still a bit different than a lot of the.
Never leave here. I've been out here in the dead of winter. They're here.
They're here. All these sheds you see out here too.
Yeah, they never migrate. They just
Shows that they're
the
there.
shed horns tell you they're in here in February and March.
Got a lot of antelope, a lot of prairie goats.
Yeah.
Pronghorn antelope, longhorn, pronghorns.
Okay, there's some right over it. It's right under that bluff over there. See, they're running through the sage.
Talking about 5 miles away over there?
No, it's only about not 2 miles.
That's what's hard to tell out here. It's the distance.
There's.
Oh yeah, there they go.
Now they're coming
Cross
up on that. They're coming up on that little ridge now, and they're standing there. Looks to be about.
They're stopped right in that saddle right there.
About
Well,
I think like 6 of them.
yeah. Leave the horses and go by foot.
Yeah, that's the only thing we can do because we just can't take a chance of spooking them.
Yeah, we've got plenty of time. All right, let's go get those boys. I saw racks on 2 of them.
Yeah, I can see 2 of them sticking up it real good.
See him, Norm. Boy, he's a nice one. Yeah, that big rock. Yeah, you see those 2 green things? Yeah, triangular rock. Right there in the left corner, yeah. Boy, he's in some badlands, isn't he? I think what we'll have to do is if we can go over, maybe we can go to the left of that big green rock there, you think?
Yeah.
Come down below it and try to, then we can come around maybe and get that great big round rock down below it. Maybe we can, if we can get to that one, keep that big rock between us. There's another deer below him you saw.
We go back off here and come around.
The deer go into rut quite late in these areas and are not yet in rut, as evidenced by the bachelor groups of bucks still together. When the rut starts, these bachelor groups will split up and the bucks will go off on their own, looking for does in heat. Dave and Norm had to circle around to the left of the deer since the wind was from their right. They used the cover of the hill in front of them to get into position an hour and 45 minutes later.
Should be right up over here. See if I can get a look here. Let's see if I can see him. Oh yeah, there he is. Yeah, he's got a couple more with him. Boy, it's hard to stay up here. Jeez. I'll catch you if you catch me. Okay. He's a heavy buck.
I see that.
He's not real wide though, is he? It's hard to tell.
But he's an old buck with white face.
Look at his gray face. There's some more below. See that one below him down there? Right down below him, off to the left. Moving around.
Total score. He's the best.
Yeah, he looks good. He's nice and high, boy. He's really high. We've got some distance here on us, don't we?
Probably 300 yards out.
Oh, look over there. There's another one over there. That keeps us from stalking any closer. Underneath that big rock over there. It's going to be it. Look where we were at a while ago. That's where you spotted him from. That's some good eyes, son.
Well, just stop and look in the right place.
Got the wind right. We made a good spot him around here. Well,
Come down these badlands every day, don't they?
That's right.
So easy.
well, if you look where they're sitting there, he's got a way, and you can't get to him. I mean, you can't get to him. That's the thing about making these mule deer hunts way up in the high mountain. You better be prepared to do some long shooting. I guess
That's a good 300. We'll step it off before we shoot.
he's an old. There's that younger, wider one that's right there to the left, but I like the old ones. What about you?
He's probably had better horns.
Yeah. Well, you're from this area, so I like to respect you guys that live in this part of the land. I know that most of you old timers like to see us harvest a good old buck, you know, and let the young ones that's got more potential keep getting older. He's already past his prime.
Well, that young one, 3 or 4 years, he might be a honker.
Yeah. Well, we've had a great stalk up to this point. It couldn't get any better. I mean, as far as the experience of a hunt, that's whenever you're hunting, killing's not everything. Well, I tell you, if you can get the chance to do a stalk like this, we walked and backpacked, left our
Daylight, 2 miles away.
left our horses back there, probably 2 miles away, and came along this ridge, and we spotted him. And it's 3:45, so it took us about an hour and 45 minutes just to get over here.
Yeah, well, we figured 2 hours
Yeah,
when we left
yeah.
home.
So this is the way we want to do it. It's a good hunt. It's going to be a good experience. Now, all I got to do is do one more thing, right?
Yeah.
That's the 300-yard
Yeah,
shot.
yeah, at least.
Well, I'm gonna.
It's the wind's just right.
We'll holler. Can you holler? We can whistle maybe and try to get him up.
Okay.
And If he'll get up, we'll get him up. If not, as long as I can get a good steady shot, I got a good balance.
He's not
place
a
up
good
here.
target laying down.
Right, don't have as much to shoot at, yeah. But the way he's facing, I think maybe I can get a neck shot in, sort of maybe angle it back up from the shoulder up into the neck area, and that should put him right down where he's at. Let's see what we can do. Well, you keep an eye on him in case he jumps and runs.
When you get ready, I'll holler.
Okay. A pole up to 10. Okay. Okay, now you see him? All right. See what he'll do. Hey! 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 Ready to turn, he looked. Oh, he's wide. Okay. Yeah, he's a good one. Here we go. Yeah, I want to take him. He's. Okay. Here we go. Ready? He's down.
Hey, you got him. You got him. I think he's better than what we give him credit for.
He's good. He was so wide. Man, that's a long way over there, isn't it?
Ooh, I told you 250, but I bet it's closer
See
to
that one
3.
running up there.
Yeah.
Whew. He is laying there. Let's put. He's barely picking his head up. Let me put one more in him. Just for the heck of it. All right, he's not going nowhere. We got him down. All right, here we go. Ah, that got him down. That got it down. Did you see his face? He is gray. I mean, he's got a white face on him. Whoo, Lordy.
That's the thing about it. I mean, there's bigger ones on the mountain. There's another one running over the hill.
Run over the hill.
I hope it's not something.
That's the same one. That's that same one.
2 of them up there.
Yeah. Whoo-hee.
The other 2 right on top. You see them?
Yes, sir.
Well, I think we better walk
Let's
over.
go check him out.
The big buck was down with a perfect neck shot from what will turn out to be well over 300 yards. A deer hunter should only take such a shot if he knows his rifle, bullet ballistics, and is practiced enough to be absolutely certain he can hit exactly where he aims at that distance. As commonly happens with a neck or spinal shot, the buck was paralyzed and needed a second shot to finish him off. A hunter should never wait for a neck or spinal shot animal to slowly die, but should administer the coup de grace immediately. Even though the animal probably feels no pain since he is paralyzed, you should still quickly ensure this with another shot.
Oh, man, how many yards is that? I thought it was a little over 300, yeah. Whew, Lord, there he is. Can't see its rack yet. Oh, look how heavy he is. Oh, a white-faced old boy. White-faced old boy. Let's see. Yeah, he's 317 yards. What a deer. Look at that. Look how far from over there we were. It was all the way over there, right in that little dip right there, see? 320 yards, 317 to be exact. And look where we were at originally. We were all the way to that pinnacle right over there. Man, you did a good job seeing him, I guarantee you did. Yeehaw. Let's see, look at it, got both shots. Both shots got him. You can see right here where one, yeah, first one, we'll see when he was sitting here. Yeah, right, that's where it comes across. Well, see, we were sitting up like this, see, so what I was trying to do was to angle it to come in and hit his neck. See, that's exactly what it did right there, and that dropped him. He never moved this, I mean, it put it down. And he was just sort of moving his head around, put that second shot in, actually cut his leg a little bit here, right into the brisket, and where the dally had gone right on back up into his neck. Yeah, so practice paid out as a 7 mag, shooting a 160 grain nozzler at Federal Premium. Good shooting load. 3 inches high at 100 and 4 inches high at 200.
And all
3, 4, and 1 inch high at 300 and -8 at 4. What you do is you just hold on dead center. So you don't have much of a target when you're laying down either. Much at all.
I thought he was going to get up, but he didn't.
Good old gray-faced dude. That's a good deer. Good and heavy and old. Good and heavy and old.
Yeah, he'd probably been a bigger deer a couple of years ago.
Well, I always tell people, you know, it's...
See, he used to have a point here.
Yeah, and
His main beam.
he's got an old passage.
Eye guards are gone.
His old white face.
Oh, yeah. Beautiful deer.
He was getting ready to face a tough winter, and we fixed it for him.
Yep.
He won't have to go through that agonizing death that the rest of them, like the bones we've been finding out there.
That's right. Let the coyote get in there.
Yeah, that's good.
He hangs on the wall now for everybody to appreciate it.
Well, it was a fun stalk. That's what hunting's all about. When you can do that, and I mean, we'll go several miles in and go by horseback, then get off, then walk 2 miles, then spot him. You had the eyes for him here, I tell you.
It's really rough in here, though, so it's not an easy place to hunt.
Well, what happened? You know, you saw him earlier. You know, when we were back there.
Daylight, just after daylight.
Yeah, you saw him run across there, and we stayed on the trail, and it's now almost 4:15, and
I see him first at 7:20, and they were on that ridge, right there in that saddle.
Yeah. So we started to search for this one at 7. We started the trail for him at 7:20 and finished it up a little after 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And we got a heck of a pack ride to do with these horses, I tell you.
Yeah.
We're going to have to get him prepared and get him in the morning, don't you think?
We're going to have to put him in the shade tomorrow.
Well, I tell you what, Norm, it doesn't get no better than this, and I have really enjoyed it.
Well, thank you.
It's been a fantastic hunt, and this is the kind of hunting people ought to do. This is a desert muley in the red desert of Wyoming.
Yeah.
And he's going to eat good because it just don't get a whole lot better than a mule deer steak.
Never knew we were around.
Let's get him on the campfire for tonight. How about that? We cut a little tenderloin off.
Oh.
Yeehaw.
Well, that takes care of the first leg of our super grand slam of deer, the Rocky Mountain mule deer. You can see why horses are popular in this type of country. Without them, this deer would have to be packed on foot almost 10 miles back to camp across the dry, hot desert and mountains. But only after a couple of hours on horseback, our hunters are back to camp and say their goodbyes as Dave prepares to head out on the second leg of this journey, all the way to Michigan. Here, Dave will go to a friend's farm to try and ambush a buck with his bow.
Yeah, these little walks are what it's all about too, getting out and walking along an old back road on a friend of yours ranch or farm or whatever it might be. It's a beautiful little spot right here. We got a little creek running right across right here. Tree line, cover, transient areas, heavy brush over here, the creek, cover along the creek. The creek is probably about 7 to 8 feet below the level we're at right here, so to give some good terrain for deer to cross the areas. They're bedding in this thick, thick cover over here, and they're feeding a lot back over on the other side of this hill. There's some fields over there, and they're hitting this area really first. I'm in a part of the area here, we're in the middle of about 20,000 acres of a ranch from a friend of mine's got, and they're not ever disturbed in here. The ranch are hardly ever. You can see the roads aren't even hardly used here very much. He comes back here very seldom. So it's not very used. They'll usually come out, they've only got, gosh, you got 35 yards right here of openness, and that's about it. So they don't mind coming out here a little earlier in the daylight. And with our cameras, we need a little bit more light anyway, so we try to catch them in places like this where they'll come out a little bit earlier on their way over to the alfalfa fields over on the other side. They'll hit the alfalfa fields usually right at dark or a little bit after dark, which is some of their favorite foods. Alfalfa grows big, huge, nice, thick, heavy racks too, big-bodied deer. What we're going to do is this is going to be typically an ambush. We're nowhere near the rut here yet, and we're just going to have to try to get one of them that's coming in here. I've been watching this field for a while, and so is the farmer. You got a couple of good bucks coming in here. One little 6-pointer that's coming in here, and then one little 8-pointer. So I want to set up on here in this little triangle right here. They'll either work their way down to this creek, or they might. There's a good heavy trail that runs right along the edges right here, just right at that edge line of the trees. It's a big rock right there. I'm gonna go just sit behind that rock on the side of that hill. Gives me a good advantage to shoot down from. And whitetail's a lot like another animal. He doesn't tend to look up nearly as much as he does on level ground or down below him. So we'll go up here and set up, and maybe he'll come along here this evening. Zip up, get the camouflage out. It's important too to go ahead and always knock an arrow and be there so you make the least amount of motion that you have to. Watch out for pieces of barbed wire like that. And when you get to an area, if you're going to sit on the ground like this, like I like to do, I'm up a little bit higher. It's going to carry my scent out a little higher above the deer's nose too, so the deer won't wind me. Clear this stuff out of the way. Get all these leaves and junk out of the way. We don't make any much noise when you're moving around. Just sit down and get ready.
The deer, having lived on private lands with little or no hunting pressure, are not as nocturnal as deer tend to be in more heavily pressured areas. Once you find where they're feeding and bedding, you should be able to set up on a trail that the deer like to use when traveling back and forth to these areas. Remember, whitetails are animals of habit. They are much like us in that they are more comfortable with things they are familiar with and are afraid or wary of unfamiliar things. For example, if a deer should see a well-camouflaged hunter sitting by a tree or rock, he may not recognize it as a person, but still knows that it wasn't there yesterday and probably shouldn't be there today. This could just be enough to frighten the deer away. Likewise, many animals which are in very remote areas may never have smelled man. However, if he smells any scent unfamiliar to him, he will probably leave the area. This is because any scent that doesn't associate as being natural for the exact spot that he smells it in, then he knows something is not normal and will immediately leave the area. Remember, deer know every inch of their woods just like you know every inch of your own bedroom. If something's out of place, it isn't hard to notice immediately. But in this case, Dave is sufficiently hidden behind the huge rock to keep the buck from spotting him, and the wind is in his face. Sitting up on that rock. Oh, he's just right over there. Can you believe it? God almighty. Man, that deer was close. God. That's where they've been coming out here every evening, right in this little area right in here, see? And feeding and browsing right at the edges of this wood. About choked on my toothpick. I had a toothpick in my mouth. All right, the deer's sitting right over there. I see him. I see the deer from right. He hasn't gone 35 yards. But once he's done that, that doesn't make any difference. Stay where you're at. Leave him alone. He still may not be dead. Just give him 10 or 15 minutes at least, even if you see him like that. It was a good hit. The arrow passed through him. Everything was great. I ate a ham and cheese sandwich about 15 minutes before I came out here. Still eating a toothpick, I think, after that shot. God. Whew. Have you seen the scenery? There it is. I went right through him. Tell you, shooting a 75-pound PSC bow. I'm shooting an overdraw. And I tell you what, that sucker puts them through it, don't it? That's the arrow.
clean shot right straight through him. We see by the bright redness of the blood that it was a good lung hit. I knew it was. It was too high, and I don't think I got it down enough, even angling as I was from high to low. I still don't think it hit the heart, but I think it probably hit the arteries directly above the heart, which I think in a lot of cases is probably even a better shot than an actual heart shot. Yeah, well, we'll go back over here and leave this right here where it was at. Go back over and sit down and just wait a few more minutes anyway. Whew, yeah. Get this close, don't worry about it. He's not going to jump up now. He would have already done it. If he'd have jumped up, I don't know if I could have pulled it and drawn it in time anyway. He's a great one though, isn't he? Yeah. Whew, he was so close. Can you believe how close he got? Look at this deer. There he is. Look at that. Yeah, that's what it's all about there now. Oh man, can you believe that? Oh, what a great deer. Look at this. Whew. See what angle it? On that particular deer, he was facing away from me, quartering away, so I had to put it just a little bit high. I was above him, so put it a little bit high, angle it down through the deer to come back out through the vitals. So we hit him right about here, came back around. You see where we exited? Right here. Okay. Big fat deer, guys. He's older, in fact, with the size of the deer he is, which is he's a good deer. He's got a good 9 inches. It's a good 18, 19 inch spread. Not a bad spread at all for a whitetail like this early season bow hunt. Whew. Well, see, that's one way to do it. A lot of times if you're doing a lot of bow hunting, a lot of times you're well before the rut even starts, see? So a lot of times what you can't do is you can't depend on the rut and depend on the bucks out moving around quite as much as usual. So then you set up a good ambush, you set up a spot. That's where a lot of times for whitetail, you like to set up a tree stand and get up in the trees and try to watch some good trails where the whitetails have been using. If you see a spot where they're feeding, like you always talk about, remember when you're hunting something, when you're hunting an animal, you're trying to best find a location where you're going to find a big buck like this. And the best place to find him is either going to be where he's bedding at and where he's feeding, and the transition between the two, okay? Especially in an area where you're not, or at a time whenever you're not in the rut, because then, like I say, you've got to catch them going to or coming from their beds or their feeding places. And that's what we did here, just ambush them and set up, and it paid off, as you can well see.
Next, we're off to Oregon. It's in the small town of Medford that Dave will team up with Bill Danielson of Danielson's Guide Service to go after the Columbia blacktail. Earlier in the summer, Dave came over to scout for deer and fished the Rogue River with Bill. Just take a look at these beautiful steelhead and salmon they were lucky enough to catch. The Columbia blacktail is a shy deer and acts much like the white-tailed deer in its habits. It likes to stay in thick cover and will generally have a small range. In appearance, they look just like a mule deer in body and antler formation, except that their tails, of course, are black. They're found only in California, Oregon, and Washington state. Bill picks up Dave at the airport, and as they drive to camp, Bill tells Dave a little about hunting the blacktail in Oregon.
Well, today I think what we'll do is we'll set up on a hillside where the blacktails have been coming here lately, and spot them with a spotting scope, and then from there we'll just try and get into some really nice cover, hoping that a blacktail will come out of the brush into an open spot and getting the best possible shot that we can. If we have to, we'll try to get a little closer. If not, we'll take them from right there where we're at and just go from right there.
Yeah, you don't do a lot of tree stand hunting here, right?
We don't do a lot of tree stand hunting. If we don't spot and stalk, then the next best way is to do some drives, get into a canyon and get some people out on some stands, get down in there in the brush and kick them out down the trails and such.
Well, let's get to it. I'm ready to get started. Okay. Nice and early in the morning, Bill. You've been seeing a lot of good bucks down this way, haven't you?
Yeah, I've been watching here for the last few days. I've seen a couple nice
forked horns and 3 points.
Well, it's nice little space we can get up on the hillside here. Got a lot of cover right here in front of us, and we can look down there right below that fence line down there where they should be coming out and feeding. We've been scouting in here quite a bit. Early morning like this, it's overcast, drizzly rain.
Yeah, I was kind of hoping it wasn't raining today, but.
Well, you know, Oregon, of course, in Portland area here, you usually don't get that much rain.
Well, here in Medford, we get about, 15 to 20 inches a year.
Yeah. Well, if we can get them to come in, we won't have too long of a shot. 150 to 200 yards probably to max. They get back down on those trees over in there, back over in there. There's a little forked horn over there behind that tree that we saw him yesterday. The one we saw yesterday. Just a little.
Yeah, he's come back out.
He's trying to run that tree there. He's a little sucker, isn't he?
Yeah, he's not very wide. He's got 3 on that one side, just barely. Just barely.
Oh yeah, he does, just barely, little bitty point there. That's a little, of course, these blacktail don't get a whole lot bigger than that sometimes, you know.
Well,
He's just feeding her. Oh, he saw you move there. Hold it still. Hold still. Okay, there he put his head back down. They're about like most deer. They don't like to look, most animals don't like to look uphill, and we're sitting uphill of them. They watch the ground, especially around here. We got a lot of cows, you know. Hey, whoa, 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 whoa. Hey, whoa, 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 whoa. Oh, there's a good one.
there's a nice buck.
Oh, wait. To the left. To the left. There's a little better one right there. Just walk down by that tree.
He's coming out now. That's a nice buck.
Look at that one on the right.
Well,
He's got 4 on one side, 3 on the other. But that other one to the left, he's got 3 by 3.
yeah, he's about.
But he's a lot heavier and longer.
Yeah,
Massive deer, massive buck.
he's just about, 18 inches wide. Yeah, that's
He's got
nice.
some good mass up. He's very symmetrical.
Yep, he's on it. Man, that's a nice buck.
Oh, he's turning around there. He's walking away.
What do you think? You gonna take it?
What do you think?
Yeah.
He's like a buck to me. Try to hit my shoulders. Oh, he's down. Let's see if he's gonna get back up. I think he's down for good. He's down.
Yep.
He's a little kick there.
That's a nice buck.
He's a good one. You know, I try to keep it, that shot, try to keep it high in the shoulder, you know.
Yeah.
And it drops, and it's a little bit more dangerous shot, but what's good about it is it puts them down just like that. We'll take a walk down, see what we got.
That's a nice buck.
Yes, sir. I believe he's gonna make the book.
Yep. Let's go down and look at it.
Okay. What a buck, what a buck. You believe this? Let me make sure. Let me make sure he goes. Can you believe that? That sucker's in a book now, I
Yeah.
want to tell you.
Man, that's a nice buck.
What a buck, what a buck. Look at that, look at that rack. Ooh, hold him up there. Look at that. Oh, he's massive. He's got a lot of mass. That's what I saw. You know, he had good mass. It's a good solid 3 bucks. Look how perfectly symmetrical he is. Just hold him up there. Look at that. Isn't that something?
Every one of them.
Absolutely lines right. You could put the point of one on the point of the other. He's even got good eye guards up on the front. Jeez. That's a good. Where do you think he's gonna go?
130, 135.
Book's 130 on a blacktail. Boone and Crockett. You
Huh.
bet. You see
That's-
where it's shot? Right there. See, high on the shoulder, on the point of the shoulder. He was angling. Boom. Put him right down like that. That's a good buck. That's a good buck in anybody's book here.
That's beautiful.
You
Great.
see the difference between the blacktail and the mule deer.
Well, what we have here is a blacktail,
Mm-hmm.
and This is just, you know, really significant
Uh-huh.
blacktail. And what happens with his horns is that they come in a little bit, kind of a curve in here. When you're looking at him, you know, out there, you can tell that he just kind of have that natural curve to him.
Right. They do a lot like a mule deer too. They come up and they branch back off in the back like that.
That's a beauty. And another thing is that right here, he's got a real dark forehead, see? Right there, yeah.
Yeah, it's sort of like a mule deer too. Look how gray he is, the old Roman-nosed old buck.
Boy, he's a nice
Good old buck. Columbia blacktail, right?
Yep.
Only 3 places you can get them. Columbia. Get them in Washington, Oregon, and Northern California, right?
Yep, that's it.
That's another big feature of the Grand Slam, the Super Grand Slam. We're on our way. Time to keep going.
Boy, this is nice.
Yee-haw.
That'll go in the book.
Here's the tag, buddy. Put him right there. Let's start hauling him out of here. Thanks a lot. Man, unbelievable.
That's great.
Let's get him home.
What a deer. And they actually got him on the very first morning of the hunt. Now, you don't get a Boone and Crockett record book deer very often to start with, much less on the first morning. But proper scouting and a good knowledge of the game you're after is always the first prerequisite to taking trophy-sized game. Bill did a great job of locating this buck prior to the hunt. Well, now let's head up to Alaska, where Dave relives a hunt he took several years ago for the Sitka blacktail. It's on the island of Kodiak, south of Anchorage, that Dave will team up with Mike Muncy of Muncy's Bear Camp and Tom Emerson of the Alaska Department of Fish and Game to spot and stalk this great Alaskan deer. Well, I'm sure like most hunting trips that there will be some memories of this one too. Hopefully of a record book blacktail. Since the Boone and Crockett Club has now made a separate listing for the Sitka blacktail, many avid deer hunters from around the world are now flocking to Kodiak Island, where the biggest of these deer are found. The largest racked old deer are found high up into the mountains, well above tree line. This offers greater opportunities for stalking, since you can normally see the deer from a much further distance. Now, let's join Dave high in the mountains with Mike Muncy and Tom Emerson.
Pretty good haul up here.
Yeah, that was a long ways.
It was beautiful.
Hey, you can see a lot. You can see the whole basin there, and something will show up over there.
How many did you count, Tom, on the way up?
Looks like about 13 deer. Some
Yeah.
pretty good sized ones.
Big bodies on
Yeah, the bodies seem to be getting bigger and bigger all the time, too.
Seems like the last couple of years we've been getting some tremendous good sized deer on
Yeah.
Big bodies.
Yeah, I think they go over 200 pounds,
Yeah.
don't you think? Some of the big bucks.
The racks are a little different. Yeah, I guess a lot of people would think that they look like a whitetail or a muley, but they've got actually a little smaller horn antler configuration.
Well, they have that separate scoring for Sitka blacktail.
Yeah.
Really makes it.
Speaking of
really a
big
challenge.
Sitka blacktail, there's one right over here.
Oh, is it?
Yeah,
Over there?
right across this basin over there, just across this bowl on that side hill there. You see where those willows come down to that,
Yeah, that first one.
yeah.
The green there.
yeah,
Yeah, okay.
right,
yeah,
right
yeah.
in there. He's kind of hard to
Yeah.
see. You see him, Tom?
Yeah, I got
He's
it.
kind of hidden there a little bit in the willows. You can't
Oh, I
see
can
him
see
too well.
Here I can see this little white.
Yeah, just looks like his head sticking up there. Nice buck.
Yeah.
Long
Look
ways
like
over.
Tom?
Yeah, he's about 800 yards.
Yeah, it's a long ways across there.
You
Well,
can see his antlers, and at this range, if you can see his antlers,
yeah, it looks like
got
part
to
of
be
the
pretty good
trees there.
size.
Yeah.
Think
Maybe
it's
if
worth
you,
going into?
yeah, I would think so. It's going to be a long haul. Maybe we should scoot around this edge of the bowl here and kind of work across there and get up about his level, or maybe a little
Get maybe
higher,
where that little gray rocks are over there
Yeah.
and come across.
and then work across above him. And I'll try. I got a handkerchief here. I'll try and signal you and
Okay.
keep you, you know, in the general area and try and
Sort
bring
of,
you.
it'll be sort of like you go to the left,
Yeah,
and maybe
I'll-
to my
I'll
left, or down or up. Or,
I'll signal where the deer is. The handkerchief will be the deer.
okay. I got my binoculars in my pocket, so I'll just
Okay.
look back ever so often.
Yeah.
he's still
Okay.
bedded
I'll
down.
keep an
He's
eye
Still
on
there? Okay.
kind of.
Okay.
All right,
Sure,
I'll just
sure.
check back, keep checking back with you
All right.
once in a while. Probably take a good half hour, 45 minutes.
Yeah. Okay. Good luck.
Well, that's a pretty nice buck.
Yeah, it sure is. It's gonna take him a while to get across there.
Yeah,
Hope he
I think
can
it's-
get across there in time.
Just looking the country over there, it's going to take him a little longer than he figured.
Yeah.
Well, I can see him now.
Yeah, it's been about 30 minutes now since he left. He's
He needs
finally getting out of that stuff. Yeah, looks like he's above and to the right of him a little bit.
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah. Maybe give him a quick signal.
Yeah.
Later.
Tell me when he's looking, and I'll give him a signal.
Okay, he stopped.
Yeah, he's looking. All right.
Yeah. Okay, he sees it. He's going. Kind of a slow go.
Yeah.
Well, that old deer, he sure perked up.
Yeah, he must be
himself.
watching the. You think they're a whitetail over here?
Yeah. Looks like he's getting pretty close there.
Yeah, he's moving down pretty good.
Yeah.
Boy, you'd think you'd be able to see him by now. He can't
Yeah.
be more than 50 or 75 yards from him.
Yeah. Must be a bit steeper hill there than we figured.
Yeah, there might be a little bit of a rise there, or those willows might be a little higher than they look.
Yeah, it looks like it's only knee deep, the willows, but you still can't see that deer. Yeah, he's coming up on him.
Yeah.
Let's give him another signal.
Is he looking?
Yeah, he's looking now. To the left and down, same one. Okay, he sees it now. He's still moving.
Yeah.
He's starting to come up on him. Gosh.
Well, he's getting close. He should be able to see him by now.
Yeah.
He's gonna run right into him.
Wow. Usually those bucks will. The wind must be blowing pretty good up
Yeah,
there.
it
too.
must be. It looks like he's moving real slow. He must be really taking his time. But he's gonna spook that thing out of there any time.
Okay. He's looking now. He wants to know what to do.
Okay.
Point it down. It's right underneath his feet.
Is he watching?
Yeah, he's watching now. Do it again. Okay.
Did you
Now
get
he's
it?
Yeah, now he's starting to move.
Getting close.
He's about ready to step on that deer. He doesn't look like he's more
Really
than 20
close.
yards away. There goes the
Wait.
deer. He's got it. Just jumped it.
Yeah, there he
There's a
goes.
shot. Okay. That's
Yeah,
down.
he got it.
Yeah, he got him.
Good shot.
Boy, that deer was really moving out.
Yeah, he was right on top of him.
Yeah, we almost stepped on him.
Wow, you would never have thought Dave could have gotten that close to a deer, and a record book one at that. You saw how the buck stopped and looked back, but what you couldn't tell was that after the buck jumped, Dave whistled and got him to look back. Let's take one more look at that one. Notice how the buck stops, giving Dave just enough time to take aim and fire.
Yeah, Dave's signaling to.
Yeah.
He's gonna go down that side of the road. It'll take us an hour.
Might as well head on back down this way and just meet him back at camp. You ready?
So you can see.
Hey, nice one. Hey,
Nice buck.
good job.
Believe that?
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah, very good.
Well, that's fun, huh?
He's a.
That was a long walk across
I
there.
couldn't believe he was right there in front of me.
Yeah.
I just couldn't see. Kept looking over the
Yeah.
brush.
Yeah.
And I knew he was close.
Yeah,
but
we couldn't believe that you couldn't see him from there because it looked like you were just 10 or 15 feet. How close were you? It's hard to tell.
I think it was about 10 feet. Yeah.
man,
Well, I kept looking.
unbelievable.
I would take the binoculars and I would actually, look at the brush in front of me. And I was trying to find any little time, because you look like you're pretty excited there with that
Yeah,
handkerchief. And
you can see the handkerchief all right then, huh?
yeah,
Good.
good against that black surface.
Yeah.
But I couldn't believe
Good.
it. He
That's a
jumped up.
nice.
Yeah, that's
What do you?
I think you scored
Yeah,
pretty
you
well
got
on
4 on one side there. Not bad.
think you'll make the book. Get close.
Well, he can be close to it. We gotta have to measure him.
Yeah. I'll let the meat right back in there.
Yeah, we can-
Heavy brush. I had
Yeah.
a backpack, so
We can go back and get it in the morning.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
But
Yeah, nice.
that's nice. for
Real
the
nice.
Blacktail. Very
You
nice.
bet.
Boy.
Very happy with it.
Good.
Good. Whew. Got dinner ready? That's a long walk. Yeah.
Well, there's another one for the record book. That's 2 for 2 on blacktail. Well, now let's head southwest, right on the Mexican border, as Dave hunts with Ray Farmer and Honer Mills from Alpine, Texas. Ray owns the Wild Horse Trading Company, and Honer has his own ranch called the Home Place. They'll be hunting in an area near Marfa, Texas, in the small Mexican village of Ojinaga. It's in this small area that the true desert mule deer and a type of tropical deer, much like the COUES deer called the CARMEN mountain whitetail, live in the same range. There's also a lot of mountain lions that feed off the abundance of deer that are found here. Well, let's join Dave and Ray as they discuss the details of the hunt.
Hey, Ray.
Oh, Dave, come on in.
Good. What's that been up to, Ray?
Oh, just pretty busy.
Good to see you.
How was your trip?
Good.
Huh?
Weather like this, can't beat it.
Beautiful, isn't it?
You got some tied up for us out there?
Oh, well, I don't know about tied up, but we got a good hunt lined up.
Good. You and the old Homer's gonna be up there.
Yeah. Homer Mills.
Ray, you got, besides the CARMEN mountain whitetail and the mule deer, you got some of these little things up here you call Aldad, huh? Barbary sheep.
Barbary Sheep.
You think we'll see some of those?
There's sure a good chance.
Is it?
We've got quite a few out on the ranch, but they're a pretty elusive animal.
They're pretty tough. They stay up in the hills a lot of times too,
Yeah.
and catch them some down the
Rough
draws and
country.
stuff. Well, that's actually came off the Barbary coast of Africa.
Of Africa.
Yeah, well, that's pretty interesting. Tough hunting over in this part of the country with that kind of where they stay up in that kind of country, isn't it?
Yeah, a lot of climbing, and every once in a while you get lucky and catch one down in a draw somewhere.
You got some pronghorn too up here.
Yeah,
Pronghorn, mule deer, and CARMEN mountain whitetail. Well, I hope we can. You got some pictures of mountain lion over there.
Yeah, we've got quite a few mountain lions,
Yeah,
but
you never see
not very
those.
many people see those.
You mostly hunted with dogs, I guess.
Yeah, it's
This country don't even have trees to tree them in, do you?
No, not too many.
Oh, well, we'll see what we can do. Now, the doll sheep I know is not coming from here.
No, those are just some pictures.
Yeah, well, I guess I better get one of those little things that we always get called a hunting license.
Oh, hunting
yeah,
license,
I
you
guess you
bet.
got those here, don't you?
We'll take care of you. Sure will.
All righty.
Let's get to see here.
Mr. Ray Farmer, the big town of Alpine, Texas.
Alpine, Texas.
We be way out west.
We're about as far southwest as we can get.
Most people, when you talk about Texas, don't think of this, do they?
No, not at all.
This is
A lot of people don't even know we've got mountains in Texas.
This is absolutely some of the most beautiful country, really, in the world. You'd think you're almost in Arizona or something like that with the scattered brush that you've got. What type of different vegetation grows in this type of terrain over here?
Oh, we go all the way from pinon pine, a few ponderosa pine, all the way down to the desert cactuses.
And so we got a lot of these little old cactuses we've seen around here. This is home to one of the species of deer we call the desert mule deer. And these desert mule deer are mixed in with another species of whitetail deer, which we call the CARMEN mountain whitetail or the COUES deer. Right. I'm sorry, not the COUES deer, or the tropical deer.
Tropical deer, right.
And this particular ranch that we're hunting here now is good because we're going to try to take both a desert mountain mule deer and a CARMEN mountain whitetail or tropical deer from the same place.
Right.
These CARMEN mountain whitetail are really just about, I think they're all the same. COUES deer, CARMEN mountain whitetail, and the Florida Keys deer. It seems like all these and the COUES deer are all related together into the tropical deer family.
Right.
And they've got to be brothers and sisters. But little small deer, they're not very big. Little small, little basket racks.
Small racks, yeah.
A 10 to 12-inch racks is absolute monster.
Yeah.
How many points do you usually?
The studies have been done in the past show an average of about 5 points is average size.
So a 6-point CARMEN mountain whitetail is going to be a big
Gonna be
mature
a-
buck.
Sure a good one.
8 points a monster and 10 points unheard of.
Oh yeah, we don't see many 10 points.
We're going to try to find some of those today and in the next couple of days. On the desert mule deer, of course they're spread out through here. You see what they've got to live on. It's a totally different situation than the Rocky Mountain mule deer.
Yes.
And they're related, I guess, by their. You can tell their features that they're related to their facial features, their body build, and they're short and they're husky. They've got that white face, it's more predominant. They got the big mule ears on them too, and they got the black tail. But they're a smaller deer because, look what they've got to feed on. They're a smaller deer, and their racks are typically, generally, much smaller than the Rocky Mountain mule deer. And in the case where we've got a situation here this particular year where we've had some pretty, in the spring when you've got to have the moisture, you didn't have it in your country this year. And so when they were developing these antlers, they lacked a little bit of the nutrition that they should have had to go to that antler growth. So we're running a little bit on the smaller side this year than you normally would. but they still taste the same.
It's still good.
This is absolutely some of the best country. Do these particular mule deer just run across these flats like this? Do they just live down in this
Yeah,
stuff?
their habitat's right here in the brush country and the draws, the deep draws with a lot of catclaw and real tight brush.
Right. What cover they can find.
Right, makes them a little tough to hunt too.
Yeah. Are they moving very far generally to feed, or are they generally feeding in bed in the same area?
They're territorial. They'll stay in one particular area. You know, they'll range a mile or so, a mile or two until a rut takes place, and then the bucks will really move around.
Well, unlike a lot of the Rocky Mountain mule deer, these deer are not real migratory. They don't have to go anywhere else because with your climates that you've got here, we're in December for 8th or 9th right now, and you know, one of those, and you see what the weather's like. We got our sleeves rolled up, you know. Of course, like a desert, it's getting cold at night, but nice daytime temperatures. These deer don't have to have the big bodies, you know, just like a whitetail that you find in northern Canada, in Saskatchewan or Alberta or somewhere. It's gonna be a big bodied animal. The Alaskan moose are bigger than the showers moose that are down in Wyoming. The big whitetail, they've got to have a bigger body to maintain, because they've got more mass to maintain their body temperature in those colder climates. Because a bigger bodied animal will have more mass enclosed with less exposed area to release the heat. So the bigger the body it is, then the warmer they can stay. So there's no reason for these animals in this part of the country to be big. There's just no natural reason for them to be that way. But they're a lot of fun to hunt, and what's neat about these mule deer is you can see them from miles off, and we can get up here and put a big lens on the camera and big tripods and all these
Lots of binoculars.
And we can see lots of deer.
See lots of deer, and then spend a lot of time trying to figure out a good stalk.
Yeah, to get on and work your way around. Well, it's good you got enough hills and all to do it, but I guess, what do you think your average shots usually range out in this country?
Oh, a good average is going to be 100 and a half yards, 150 yards.
Right. You got some stalking cover and terrain.
Right.
Sometimes you get on up to 200 or 300
Oh
yard
yeah,
shots.
occasionally we'll get a 200 or 300 yard.
A good rifle for this could be what, just about like any good whitetail rifle?
Yeah, sure. 7 mag, 270. Those are
a good flat
real
shooter
popular.
will help you if you've got to get that long range out of there. I'm shooting a 7 mag. I'm going to shoot out here just because of the same thing. Just because if we happen to see that thing out there at 300-400 yards, we want to have the range. I've taken this 7 mag and I've sighted it for this type of country. I've sighted it with using the ballistic tables for my weight bullet. I'm 3 inches high at 100 yards. And what that does, that's going to put me at 200 yards, 4 inches high. At 300 yards, it puts me 1 inch high, and at 400 yards, I'm 8 inches low. So what that does out here, I'm not used to hunting in the wide open as much as I am in the brush country of whitetails, and it's harder for me to estimate range and distance.
Sure.
So what this does is I don't have to worry about it. I can shoot.
You got it covered.
Right. I just put it on him and pull the trigger.
Yeah.
Anything out to about 425 yards, I've got him. Okay, without having to screw around with messing up with ranges and shooting over him or under him, or just put it on him and shoot at them.
That's wise. That's a good choice of way to sight it in.
Yeah, you boys been hunting this territory for a long time.
We've been around here quite a while.
You've been hanging out at the Wild Horse Trading Company up there. You got up there, place in Alpine. If you ever in there, stop in and see old Ray. Let's go get to it, Ray.
All right,
I'm ready to
we'll
go.
do it.
Let's look over here and see if we get a better look. 2 bucks or 2 over there. And you got
There's 2 here.
Four
I
over
can't
here.
I can't tell for sure on those.
there's one over here. There's 2 of them. 2 bucks over here. Was that last one a little bit better than that first one? The one that walked out just a second.
Yeah, I believe that lower one. He's a little bit better. Both of them pretty good.
Yeah, there it is. You can see looking away.
He's the one on the left, lower left. There's some more deer up above the bluffs, over the top of this close tree up there, where there's a single tree up above the bluff. You'll come down at about 4 o'clock, you'll see
I got
another deer.
Got him. Move a little bit. Think, Homer, some small little bucks there, aren't they?
Looks like a couple of spikes, and that middle one I believe is either a 4 or 6 point. That one on the left may be a 4 point, I can't really tell. It looked like a little bunch of young bucks.
How big you think they are?
Oh, they dress about 45, 50 pounds.
one or two good meals, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's something else.
Probably 2-year-old bucks.
What's the average age on some of the tropical deer, the CARMEN Mountains, the whitetails here?
Oh, it's just kind of like the mule deer. You try to get a trophy. When you kill one of the better ones, he's going to be a 6 or 7-year-old deer.
A 6 or 7-year-old.
They start their best horns when they're about 5. Seem to fall off after the 7th year.
We're getting some good long living deer at this. In a lot of parts of the country where whitetails are being hunted down in the east and southern parts of the country, 1.5, 2-year-old deer is a good deer. Not a good deer, but it's probably the average deer
Right.
that you're seeing out there. Well, that's good. We'll see if we can find some bigger ones.
Okay.
A lot of deer around here.
There's 2 whitetail just walking over the hill behind those mule deer.
That's something seeing them group together like this.
Hey, you don't see them like that very often. You'll see them close to each other, but in separate groups.
Those guys were more than 20 feet apart.
Mule deer about twice the size of the whitetail.
So we need to find that one whitetail buck. There's one whitetail buck.
Hi. No, you hit him. You hit him. I couldn't tell. It looked like he was stumbling forward with a good shot, but
Yeah, it should have been a real good shot.
I just saw the dust behind him. Thought you shot.
Huh?
He went out the side on that lip.
Here he goes. He ran out. Is that him up there? There's 2 of them.
No, he didn't come out.
I think he's in that brush.
In the lead.
He's in that brush.
That's a small one in the back and a spike in the front.
It was a good shot, I'll tell you. It was a good shot.
I just saw the dust through him. That bullet went off.
Yeah, that was a good one. Getting close to the end, he was a good one though. He's in those brush over, I think. We'll go get him.
Good shot.
Yeah, it was a good shot. That was a real good shot. Whew. There he is. There's your COUES deer.
Well, that son of a gun was right in that thickest part.
He's a big one, isn't he? Oh, they don't weigh much, do they?
He's got some big burry bases, but he sure doesn't have any points.
Yeah.
I bet he's got a lot of age on him.
Missing brow tine. Old deer.
He's an old deer. He sure feels like he's got a lot of wear. I can't see in there, but
He's got about a, about a 13-inch spread maybe?
probably.
Good wide spread. Not bad.
Probably weigh about 50 pounds.
That's all there is to him. Well, it's about to get around the light. We're about to freeze to death. Let's get him
Good
in
shooting.
and go home. All right. Yeah.
Well, that's the CARMEN mountain whitetail. Now let's find the desert mule deer. It's really tough to find good horns this year with the drought this past spring, but there's plenty of old mature bucks that are still plenty smart and taste just great.
One way of hunting mule deer is to get out here and walk these little gullies. Where's all this heavy brush at? In a country like this, you don't have a whole lot of cover anywhere. So where they'll typically like to congregate is down these little cover areas like this. When you're walking along, we're right here. The sun hadn't even quite come up yet over the ridge of the mountain yet. We're still early morning. these mule deer are going to be getting up and going. We've got one man below us down here working the ravine coming up through it. He's staying about 50 to 100 yards behind us, so he can kick the mule deer out in front of us, and we can get a shot at him and see him. Right now I'm looking at a little doe, or not a little doe, a big mule deer doe. She's standing up there by that cedar tree up there. See her? She's just standing there looking at us. Big-bodied mule deer. But she doesn't have what we're looking for today, which is some antlers. That's typically what they'll do. She's sitting over there about 150 yards away, staring at us. So anyway, so we're gonna get back and keep walking these things. The sun's getting ready to come up. It's one of the best ways to hunt mule deer, though. Well, he's got to be one somewhere. There's a bunch of deer on the opposite hillside. It's going up there, all them does.
Yeah.
Bunch of doe knobs. Knobby-headed does is what we call doe knobs.
Oh.
What?
Right there, Dave. Right at about 400 yards, 450 maybe, running.
What the heck is that? Aoudad. That's one of the Aoudads.
Oh,
The good one?
Yeah.
There he goes. Yeah, he's going across there. All right. Right around that bush. Boom, man. I got a piece of it, didn't it?
Yeah.
He went around that bush.
Yeah, he just went right around the bush. Okay, I think he's going to stop there.
Went over that edge. We're going to go over and look at over that edge. Yeah. Let's go take a look. Aoudad, huh? That's like Barbary sheep.
Yeah, Barbary sheep from the coast of Africa, in fact.
Is that right?
Yeah.
That's a neat looking critter. They're out here free range in this country.
Yeah, sure.
Well, it hit him pretty good there, I think. We're gonna see if we can find him.
Good shot.
Thanks.
Gosh, it's real thick.
It's right back over. He ran over that ridge over there.
Oh, here he is. Right over here.
Yeah. He did. He did. I thought that one hit him pretty good. Yeah, man. Boy, he's a pretty nice one too, isn't he?
Oh, yeah.
He did, isn't he? Yeah, he's got it. Oudad. Aoudad. It's fun to call them Oudads.
Right.
Isn't that something? And this is a Barbary sheep, right?
Yeah.
These were actually introduced here. They're not native to Texas originally, are they?
No, they're from the Barbary coast of South Africa, or Africa, yeah.
You call them Aoudad.
Mm-hmm.
It's sort of a bonus on these little hunts. You can find these things
yeah.
like that. Oh, man, they usually stay up high in the mountains, don't they?
Yeah, this is real unusual to catch one down in the flats like this.
Yeah, like we did.
Lucky, too.
Hitting the draws. Man, he's a good one. Look at how he's all beat up.
Yeah, dark horned.
Yeah.
That's a good
Look
setup.
at this is what makes a neat mounts on them. I've seen is and look at this. Just look at that fur on this stuff.
Oh, yeah.
That thing weighed a couple 100 pounds. Let's see if I can pick him up. See that? Look how shaggy his mane is. And chaps on his legs there.
Yeah, they go all the way down his legs here.
Oh, isn't that something? Yeah, I noticed when he was running, you could see this just flapping in the breeze.
Flying, yeah.
Boy, that'll make a gorgeous mount too, won't it?
Gosh, yes.
Whew, boy. He is gorgeous. These old guys fight like a lot of sheep do and rams do. Button heads.
Button heads, yeah.
He looks real symmetrical too, doesn't he? Isn't he?
Yeah, he's a good mount.
Thanks, Ray.
Oh,
appreciate
gosh,
that. I'm glad you swapped by that dude.
Good shot. Good shot.
All right. Still a junior. We just had something pretty exciting happen that usually doesn't happen. We were actually coming along the truck leaving for the end of the hunt today. We stopped and Ray spotted this mountain lion up on the ridge right here behind me on these rocks. And we jumped out real quick and got some shells in a rifle and managed to get it down. And most people don't ever even get to see a mountain lion in the wild, naturally in the wild, much less be able to bag it. And in Texas, they're considered to be predators, and you can just hunt them anytime you want to. No license, no tags, no nothing. So it's a it's a great little extra we got added on this hunt. Isn't it beautiful? Just look at the colors on it. Gorgeous, gorgeous. They are eating some deer in this area, aren't they? They eat a tremendous amount of deer. Look at the claws on it. See there? And that's something. Gorgeous. That's great. We better keep on going. I guess no telling what else we might see before night's over, right? Yeehaw! Across the canyon over there.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Got 2 bucks and a doe, right?
That's what it looks like.
Sun's just starting to peek on the edge over there. There they are walking up to the thing there.
Oh, yeah.
What they look like.
Let me take a look.
Just went in the brush, one of them did, 2 of them standing on the other side. There one comes out right there.
Well, we've got, looks like a doe, a yearling, and there's a pretty good little buck, the one on the right.
Good for a desert muley.
Yeah.
Thought you're gonna feed at the top of that hill. What we got for wind? We got 0 wind right now, right here. Well, it's starting to go that way a little bit. You think we'd have time to get around behind that ridge and come back in? They're going pretty fast over
Yeah,
there.
they're moving pretty fast up the ridge.
How far are we from here?
Oh, I'd put them about 200 yards.
About 200. It's the last day of the hunt, my man.
Pressure's on. You think there might be another one come out of that draw?
Well, I don't know. What do you think? Think there's no one down here?
That's what I'm wondering.
Howdy, howdy, howdy. Well, I bet your coffee's better than the hunting.
I got some.
All right. Well, this coffee don't ever get any better taste than this right here. Yes, sir. It's called cowboy coffee. Whew. What we got for lunch today?
Well, got a little stew, cornbread, beans, made a little some chips, pico de gallo, chili con queso.
I like all that.
All that. We can have all that. Iced tea and coffee.
Brett, you do a lot of this cooking, don't you, out here?
Yeah, I try to every chance I can.
Got your little chuck wagon built back here.
Works pretty good. It's hard to get it in here, but it works good.
You got Big Ben saddlery, is that right?
Yeah.
Make a few saddles and little...
Do all kinds of things. All kinds.
You come out here and do this for fun or for money?
This is for a little both. Little both.
I bet you enjoy it more than you do the money, don't you?
I do. I get away from the shop every now and then.
Well, this is a neat way of cooking. Not many people get the opportunity to come out and have a cooked meal like this. You do it just like they would have done it 100 years ago.
Try to keep it simple,
Yeah.
you know.
Tell me a little bit how you cook how you use your fires and your pots and so forth.
Well, these big old cast iron Dutch ovens, you heat them up and you can bake in them. Anything you can bake in the house, you can bake in those. This is a cornbread. Big old batch of cornbread.
Ooh, Lordy, and don't that look good?
Kind of waiting on hungry folks to
Man,
show up.
everybody else gonna be here in a few minutes. I got a feeling. You put a few coals on the ground and just...
Few on the ground, few on top, and
Top.
just bakes like an oven. Some of the deeper ones are more for frying or cooking stews in, roasts.
that's all some homemade chips you made over there a while ago too. That's good. What else you got in these things?
Well,
Cornbread.
those are empty.
Those are empty. Okay.
Those are waiting for tonight.
A little stew over here. Well, sure a good way to do it. Big stack of mesquite wood there. I'm ready for lunch. I guess I better go wash my hands. See you in a little bit.
Okay.
There's one he's sitting in the brush. He's still the same smaller. Right there we've been seeing Ray, but he looks a little heavier than the rest of them, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's got a lot heavier set of horns than the ones we've been seeing.
This is like a forked horn, doesn't it?
Yeah. Good high, heavy horn.
He's probably, with what we're running into out here with this weather conditions this year, he's probably one of the better ones that we'll find.
Yeah, he's probably a lot older buck.
He's bedded down up in that thicket up there, where he's got a hillside view of everything. Well, we need to put some meat in the freezer, and it don't get much better eating than this right here.
That ought to be a nice one.
Ordinarily, I'd probably pass them. Well, I wouldn't be ordinarily. I know I would pass a deer like that by. But with the conditions that we got this year and so forth, we know he's a good mature buck.
Oh yeah.
And this don't get much better eating than mule deer.
That's true.
I got
That's
a tag
true.
in my pocket and a freezer that's still empty. So
Well, let's see if we can stalk
see if we
him.
can put a snake on him. What do you want to try to do? Do you think come back up over and get over on the other side of the hill?
I
and try
think
to
that's
come
going to
down?
be our best bet.
All right.
If he does get up, then we've got a good view of him before he
Okay.
gets out of sight.
Good. If he's a good mature buck, we'll take him. If we can get it. He's behind those bushes. It's a good spot, yeah, right in here. Yeah, right, I can see him good from there. Yeah, okay. Right here. Yeah, see him there.
Yeah.
Jumped up, he's seeing us.
He's looking back at us now.
We're so far off, he's not right. Pay much attention. Which one do you think is that's a doe to that side? Okay. We'll take that one on the left.
That one on the left, yeah,
All right.
he's the bigger one. Yeah.
Is he down? Getting up. Yeah, there's no need to. He's dead. All right, come here, Ray. That was it. Got him down.
Yeah, good shot.
That doe still standing over to the side, huh? Ooh. She don't know what's going on, does she?
Hell of a shot.
Well, offhand, like that was a little bit,
Yeah, a
little bit shaky, but
Good shot.
he's down.
All right. Nice buck.
It's good. Tucker for the lauder. What you keep looking for?
Just looking around.
Yeah. Well, let's go down there and see if we can get him. We better mark our position pretty good. That's a good long. How far do you think that was?
Oh, that's a good 200 plus.
Yeah.
Maybe even get to 300 yards.
Yeah. She's still just standing over there, isn't she?
Yeah.
That's what's fun about mule deer hunting. You can do that. You can see these things that far off, you know, and get a good shot on them. We just sort of snuck around the whole side of the hill right here and got set up and got him. So he was bedded, you know, up on the top of that ridge up there. When we started moving, he jumped up and he came back across the top of that ridge right there. And then we came back and we worked our way back around here and got in a position right here, and this is about as best we could do. He was bedded back down there and undoubtedly met up with a doe and jumped back up. So we didn't shoot the doe knob, but we could have got the bug anyway.
Well, that's it, folks. The super grand slam of deer, as we call it. The Rocky Mountain mule deer, whitetail, Columbia blacktail, Sitka blacktail, CARMEN mountain whitetail, and the desert mule deer, all in one package. The safari was a great one, and a journey full of memories. There were lots of new friendships made and many a pot of coffee brewed over the fire. It was a trip well worth taking, and we were lucky enough not only to have a great time along the way, but also to get the game we were after. And remember, don't measure your success by the game in the bag, but by the friendships and the memories made and the lessons of nature learned. So, until next time, happy hunting, friend.
I like to know that big black bears still roam the forest floor. I like to know wild turkeys strut and gobble as before. That racing graceful antelope still run the grassy range, and dancing prairie chicken boom and stamp across the plain. I'd like to visit meadows with herds of bugling elk. I'd like to stand with bighorn sheep upon their rocky shelf, to see the wood duck settle down, see beaver and much more. I'm so proud of what we've done, America's wildlife to restore. I want to teach my children how the natural world abounds, with cooing, gobbling, booming. Let them hear the many sounds. Somehow I've got to teach them that the music of the wild still echoes in the scheme of life for woman, man, and child. I like to think of wildlife as time goes racing by, when days fly off like leaves are tossed and blown against the sky. The deep and secret rhythm of creatures who abide in the forest, river, desert, cross this continent so wide. Yes, the deep and secret rhythm of the wildlife that still roam in mountains, valleys, meadows, cross America.